wonderful. So, you know, kind of what do you have in your fridge, and that can be breakfast. It doesn't have to be the bowl of cereal or whatever we're used to. I heard this really great interview today. Michael Moss just wrote a book, Fat, Sugar, well, all
Salt.
the bad stuff, fat,
Salt.
sugar, salt.
Yeah.
It's just, and they call cereal, it's actually, you know, just uncovering the manufacturer's secrets to make us keep buying their product, and it's fat, sugar, salt. And they're gonna find ways to keep continuously offering that, but I loved it. They referred to cereal as sugar-coated vitamins because it's truly sugar, and then they enrich it with vitamins, and that's what you're having. Another interesting thing was is they really try to hit a bliss point when it comes to sugar. So we're so addicted to sugar that they do lots of research and money goes into this to getting things just the right sweet so you buy it again. So that's why sugar's in some of the craziest things that as a cook, I think, why did they put sugar? It sells. So,
Or you keep eating it, you
Yeah.
don't stop.
so we have to take care of our addiction on that. So just eat what you have leftover. Leftovers are great breakfasts. So don't make this hard. I'm really, we make things too hard sometimes. So I put together a few ideas. This is one of these ideas I did in a class, and it was a grains class I taught, and I have had more people tell me that they make this over and over and over, and they make a big supply for the week. So that's, again, I want to show you how to make your own convenience food. It's easy. Just like last week, those little banana bars or that mix, I mean, it's easy stuff. So we're going to put that together, and it's called the No Cook Porridge. It was from YummyLife.com. And, it's kind of, I like to look at ideas as blueprints. Blueprints of things that you plug in what you have in your pantry, okay? So I happen to have a couple of canning jars here. Any kind of jar would work, or cup with a lid. You can buy these really cool glass cups with lids, like at Crate and Barrel or different places. So, you don't have to go out and buy canning jars, or
This
just
is
keep
the
like
perfect size.
keep like a empty preserve jar. I always keep all these jars. So what you're gonna probably want to have is at least 4 days in. So Monday through Thursday, I always say to my students, get yourself through Monday through Thursday. And then if you're doing that good, and get that your habit, you'll gradually inch it into the weekends too. So when you're stocking up your convenience items, make enough that you're gonna eat them up. If you get really ambitious that first week and you make a bunch of them, then you're like, I never even ate them all, and then you're throwing them away, you're gonna get discouraged. So that's why I kind of coach you, just kind of make what you can reasonably have. So 4 days out is good for freshness, taste, and everything. All right, so we have a couple jars, and we're gonna assemble these. I know you guys back there really can't, it's like I can't see you guys over there.
Stand up.
Or come on up. So everyone probably has in their life oatmeal or barley flakes or rye flakes or some kind of flake. We talked about them last week. So this goes together really easy. We're going to each make these. Okay, so what you do, you line up your jars. How many people? If there's 2 of you, you might do 8 jars. And you can tailor them to different flavors. So we're going to add a 1/4 cup of oats, so I'll have you do that in yours. And then you're going to add 1/3 of a cup of any kind of milk. Tonight I have coconut. You can use almond, rice, dairy, whatever. It really doesn't matter. So we're going to do 1/3 of a cup. I'll have you open that and pour that in. And then if you're worried about like protein or the probiotics and all that, Greek yogurt's a nice choice. If you're not into yogurt, you can skip that stuff. But this is, again, just a nice little place to add some yogurt. So I went with Greek because it is a little better. Peggy likes when I use it because it's a good source of protein. So
the importance of protein in this, most of our grains are going to be carbohydrates. So all food is made up of carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. Carbohydrates digest in about 2 hours, even if they have extra fiber. Protein digests in 2 to 4 hours. So this is all kind of like about that log. It's a longer burning log if we put that protein in there. So we want to balance. And fat digests in 3 to 5 hours. So fat's what sticks with you. So you don't necessarily want to eat a fat-free breakfast because you're going to be hungry. So my thought is, if I'm satisfied all the way till lunch, my stomach's not going to growl and irritate people, but I'm going to be a little more satisfied as well. So if you would, one of the recommendations is to balance your breakfast. Balance it meaning carbohydrates, protein, and fat. So that's where our Greek yogurt comes in.
So what you could do too, if you love like things like almond butter, you would put like a little block of that, and not a quarter cup, please, like about a tablespoon or less. So you could, every time you make this could be a different combination. So now we're going to add a little omega.
Oh, omega-3. These are the flax and the chia combination.
So you can use flaxseed ground, so flaxseed meal. You can use chia, you can use hemp seeds. There's all kinds of stuff out there now. It's kind of fun. I found this blend, and it's flax and chia together. And the flax is already ground for me, so I have to store this in the refrigerator once I open it, or freezer. So just keep that in mind. So
Because the flax is ground?
Yes, you want to make sure it's ground. So I always say if it's going to be something that you're not going to use because you bought the seeds and you're not going to ever grind it, you just know in your real life that doesn't work out. Buy the ground flax and then store it in the freezer or refrigerator. I see some comments there.
Where did you buy this?
This I found at Hy-Vee. I just thought, hey, that's kind of cool, so I've just brought it for another idea.
I heard that it was better to grind the flax when you get it, so it doesn't become rancid.
It is, but I'll tell you what, it's like that really good cup of coffee. If you're committed to grinding the beans and using it. Yes, you can use a coffee grinder, but I'm saying sometimes we tend not to do that. So I want you to figure out what works for you. Yes, it's great to buy them whole and grind them, but not everyone is going to do that. So store them in the refrigerator or freezer.
And that will help decrease the rancidity as well.
There'll be dates on the bags, so used by, and then once you open them, I always like refrigerate or freeze the ground if it's ground.
And then is that only applied to the flax, because you haven't mentioned the chia there?
You do not have to grind the chia or the hemp. Good question.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't have to refrigerate the chia seeds, right?
I don't know.
Well,
They might keep longer, but
I think they would keep longer because they are an omega-3 as well, but just keep smelling them. I mean, you'll
You're
know
gonna
if
know.
they're not keeping.
and don't buy the super size because it's cheap. Buy the size you're going to use up, okay? Because it just doesn't work out always. That we think we're, buying this great bargain, and then you're trying to figure out how to use them, and you don't.
Which is also another benefit to buying in bulk. If you're just going to try this 1 week and, see how it goes, just buy it in bulk and just buy, just a little bit that you need to make 4 servings. And then you'll say, aha, I can really do this. And then you can go ahead and buy it, in a larger quantity. But in bulk, you only pay for what you buy. And so that's a really financially smart way to try things.
That's a great point. And then you're not as frustrated as well. Because I think there's a lot of frustration around gathering ingredients, getting them used up, the cost. So don't do that. Just go get a few little things and see how it goes. See if everyone likes your new idea.
Or if you do.
Yeah. So now this is totally optional, but I'm just going to add a little bit of vanilla. I really encourage you. I'm going to let you do that. When you're buying yogurt, that's another great place manufacturers love to put garbage, okay? Buy plain and add your own fruit preserve or your own frozen berries or your own vanilla, okay? Because once they start adding flavors, they add a lot of sugar and other things. So just buy plain, and then you're in charge of what's in it. Okay, so we have a little vanilla, and again, that's totally optional. And this one is too, but I just thought I'd show you really what a lot of yogurts are. Is like a fruit spread at the bottom, and then you stir it up. So you can buy your own fruit puree, and you know what's in it. And if you want, you can add it to this jar. So this is just a raspberry, it does have sugar. So if I was really watching my sugar, I probably myself would just put berries in here, but I'd want, you know, you're still trying to eat what you're familiar with. So a little of this might just help you enjoy it more. So this,
And it's less than what would be in the pre-made.
okay,
It
so
calls
let's,
for a tablespoon.
yep, a tablespoon or so, yep. And then we're just gonna top it off with some, you can do frozen fruit, you can, you know, or just like fresh berries or chopped up apples and put them on top. So I just have some frozen fruit here. Actually, what we're gonna do first is shake these. So this is what we have. We have this mixed up, and we're just gonna shake, or we don't even have to shake, you can shake, but it kinda is nice because then everything gets mixed up. And we've got porridge to go. And then we can add the berries on top. Line them up in the fridge, and it'll get really nice and thick, and you can eat this cold. You can warm, I know, Jen, you take it. You can warm it, because it's in a glass in the microwave when you get to work. But this works. It's great. It's easy. And really good. You can come up with some yummy combinations.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about any of the ingredients we put in? How many calories is that? We didn't calculate the calories. Oh, we here, let me see. What did we put in? See if I can do it quickly.
1/3 cup of it.
I'll let her do that. That's on my.
I had to write it down. I need an assistant.
I will tell you too, if you're having like a little sweet attack, this is kind of dessert-like too, because with the fruit, and it's really fills you up. So I encourage you to not just use it for breakfast, use it for like a sweet dessert. Now the calories will vary according to like what kind of milk. I ended up using 2 tablespoons. I reduced it. All right, we'll let her do her little. So some other things you can do is add like spices like your cinnamon. I have a pumpkin pie spice up here somewhere to remind me. So you can do a fall one with pumpkin pie spice, and you know, every season just, you know, change it. So they're really great, and trust me, these work wonderfully.
So 175 calories without the added fruit. So, you know, depending on how much fruit you add to it, would be. So, you know, what was our goal here? Our goal is a quarter to a third of your calories. So there's room for more. I would experiment with this with some fruit and see if it satisfies you. It just might. It just might, because it's whole food. But yeah, nuts with it or seeds with it, little sunflower seeds with it or something would be really good. But experiment. But that combination that we put together was only 175 calories.
So you might look at this and go, well, I need way more than this for my morning. But try. As Jen said,
It does stick with you.
And now let's say you go, you know what? I don't like thick things. Some of us, textures really affect everyone differently. I have people that love thick, you know, gooey, and some that really turns them off. So what you can do is still mix it up, but when you warm it, you can add some more liquid to it and thin it. So don't think you're stuck, okay? Put it in a bigger mug, and you can add some more milk to it, or even some water. A little bit of water would be fine too. I cook our oatmeal in water, so, or I would probably add a lot of like fresh fruit and stuff like that. So,
Exactly. Or calorie-wise, if you can afford some more calories, which many of us could at that time, that's where that tablespoon of nut butter would come in really handy. So,
okay. All right, any questions on that one?
Is that our prize today?
Are we doing, where's Courtney?
Courtney's in the
Are we doing
back.
prizes? Let's do a couple prizes in between.
She has her basket.
We have some prize-hungry people. I like it. Well, you torture weighing them in when they get here. You need
Let's do
prizes,
these
right?
three because we
So what we
just made
have,
this.
we have the dry cart for two of the two jars. And I wrote on here exactly what's in there. So you can do 2 jars of this.
And we just have to explain, the reason these aren't going out as a door prize is because of the dairy included, it's not a food safety thing. We want to make sure that you're all.
We'd love to send you home with it, but I don't want you to forget it in your car or it's in your bag and forgot and then you eat it.
We have Susan Holder.
All right, report back.
And I don't have oats, so
Oh,
thank you.
good.
Patty Porton. Teresa Gearhart.
You guys might want to move over here.
Yeah, really. Head to the boat.
Lotto tonight.
Yep, so, or use it tomorrow.
You guys have the mix of the, So hopefully that just kind of gets you thinking how easy you can put together some things that are, are interesting and different to grab and go. And then I have another quick little thing that I just love. This costs about $20 maybe, and it's a little mini blender. And maybe you could get it cheaper. I don't know, but I thought it was very reasonable. So clips on here, and the cool part is whatever you put in here you can take because it has a cup. It's a cup. So you clean one thing, you don't have to like clean 2 things or more, and so you can do a quick little smoothie to go. And smoothies are kind of hot right now. There are like, this is what I say about smoothies. I don't know if you have any comment. I think it's a great way to get variety in your diet. But I also know chewing's a really, really important part of our digestive health. So I don't want you just always smoothies. Change it up, okay? There's a lot of interesting research around chewing and, it activates the digestive tract and all that. So, and that's where we do have a lot of issues in the American diet is digestion. But I think it's a great way to get a lot of different nutrients in. So you may want to comment.
Another comment, that's a really, really good point. But another thing to think about is part of our being satisfied with the food we eat is chewing as well. So that's really important. But again, to grab and go, there are definitely benefits. So once again, you hear variety.
So I put together this little blueprint because sometimes you're like, I don't know what I want to put in my smoothie, and I don't know if I really want to buy a smoothie cookbook, so you don't need one. Just hang this up on somewhere. You can open the door in the morning or make it at night. I know sometimes there's, research around the nutrients breaking down, but I always say it's better than going through the drive-through, so don't get hung up on that. So make it at night, put it in the fridge, off you go. This really makes a lot, so I personally think this is like for 2. So I'm just going to show you how nice and easy this is to work with. So you need 2, I'm going to just do it in half because of my little blender here. So we need a cup of liquid. You can use really any kind of liquid that you like. Don't forget, even things like herbal tea is really tasty in things. If it's hot summer and you want something really light, having some cold tea for this would be delicious with a lot of different vegetables. So don't get hung up on the breakfast thing where it's milk or, I also have up here is coconut water. This is an interesting water. I don't know if you like to comment, I'll let you talk about it. But you either kind of like it or you can't stand it, or you really sort of like it. So I always say throw it in your smoothie if you want the benefits of it. It doesn't really stand out like any certain flavor, but some people can't handle it straight on. So do you want to talk about?
Yeah, let me just look. I saw a face over here when she.
Was there an icky face?
It
Because
was
there
a
are
not so
some.
good face.
Drink it cold, but if you really want it in your life, and I'm not saying to get it in your life, it's another option out there.
One thing, for those of you that aren't aware of it, they talk about or promote it as a natural electrolyte. So what I wanted to double check is the sodium in it. There's 130 milligrams of sodium in this container. So if you're watching your salt or watching your sodium, you just want to evaluate if this is something that you want to include. It has 40 calories. So again, just kind of evaluate if that's where you want to spend it. But like you said, I mean, sometimes it's important for people to include it. So it just depends.
I know it's out there. They're doing a lot of marketing. Again, buy the plain. Do not buy the flavored berry, whatever, because you know what they're going to do. Okay, that's not what this. This is the coconut, the green coconut. They take. If you're ever in the Dominican, they walk around the wheelbarrow, whack off the coconut. That's what this is. So you don't need to add mango and, okay? For the benefits.
The question is how many servings is in there? I believe it's
Well,
one.
this is one, but a lot of times what I'll do is just buy like small and then use like half of it and just spread it around, you know. But yeah, this is a little one serving. So we need about a cup of liquid. So I'm going to put part coconut and part, I happen to have coconut milk. It's just what I grabbed. It's not like the only one I ever use, okay?
And as far as the coconut milk's concerned, just be on your toes if you're watching your cholesterol or your saturated fat intake. Coconut is a natural saturated fat, so just make sure that you realize that that's part of your budget. I always like to talk in forms of budget. For example, if each of us had $100, we'd all be buying different things. I'm buying shoes, and I know y'all aren't buying shoes. So everybody's not going to spend their saturated fat the same, and that's okay. So this just has some saturated fat, and just be aware of it. Count it into your budget.
I like it if I'm really looking for something creamy. So that's how I look at what the different milks I use.
The texture is definitely full body.
Okay, so we're going to add, we'll just do a half a cup of the fruit. So I just had some keep frozen fruit around. That's really easy. You don't have to wash it, peel it. You just pour it out of the bag, okay? Just don't have added sugar. I don't know why they do that, but it tastes better. They think. Okay, now this is a bag of kale I found at Trader Joe's. It was all clean, cut up. Isn't that perfect? You don't have to even think. So we're gonna do a half a cup. So I too buy convenience items, and I never measure, but I'm just gonna measure for you here. So you just throw some in. And so this could be celery, this could be parsley, this could be romaine, this could be whatever green you have, okay? Don't go buy special greens for this. But kale's a nice one. Now, if kale's really bitter and you taste this, you take it and you're like, oh, no way. You're gonna add a little bit of honey or even cinnamon. Cinnamon's a great neutralizer for bitter. You throw a little in. Don't give up on it, okay?
Cinnamon also oftentimes gives us that illusion of a sweetness that we're looking for, so that's really good. There's a lot of research out there now that cinnamon actually will help with blood sugars. And that doesn't help everybody, but you never know. It could help with your insulin sensitivity.
So now we can decide, and I gave you this blueprint because you know where you are as far as how active or what you need to get you through the day. You can add some type of protein, and if you look at my blueprint, I kind of gave you the recipe, and then below I gave you ideas of what you could plug in and use, because I want you to just be able to open your cupboards and what do you have, okay? Or maybe you just have to add a few things. So this could be, you know, nuts, seeds, nut butter. It could be protein powder or yogurt. So really the protein, it could be a little, you know, I didn't even really bring extra protein, I see. We'll use
Is
this.
chia seeds protein?
A little
I
bit,
think
a
that-
little bit, not much. 2 grams of protein per 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
Just to put it in perspective, 1 egg has 7, or 1 ounce.
Oh, yeah, I could use yogurt, yeah. Okay, so we'll just throw this in, because we're just we're playing pretend up here anyway, okay? I just want to show you how quick and easy, and once you kind of just look at these options, you can get all kinds of ideas. All right. And because I don't have it's a short little cord, this is all we're going to do. So first you want to chop everything up. There you go. So I would go to whatever desired texture you want. Some people like things to have texture, and some like it smooth. Now, if you use chia and you make it the night before, you're going to have more pudding-ish, which is, it's like a milkshake, okay? And if that's what you're after, go for it. So, but this is so easy. Love this. And then off you go. And it will be different colors according to, you know, whatever's in there. And sometimes the colors are a little artistic, I'm going to say. Creative. So, but it's so simple, and I thought, wow, what a great little tool. Or you get home in the afternoon and you're like starving. You could whip together a cute little smoothie.
As you're prepping your dinner.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a question?
Yeah, one thing I don't understand about protein, like, some foods, we're not like a whole protein, like walnut, okay? Like chia seeds, I don't know, that's not whole.
No, we were,
No.
no. And that's why I said pretend when I put those in. I would put nuts or,
But how come they say like say, dried beans, like kidney beans or pinto beans? I mean, like, to get a whole protein, you gotta mix that with a whole grain. How come they say 7 grams of protein, like, shouldn't they say like what amino acids or?
Just to complement it. Oftentimes people are interested in doing the matching thing or the complementing thing. So yeah, if they put that on the labels, they'd be even more complicated than they are now. But that's a really good point. You're really thinking.
so the whole point there is eat variety. Because it's really throughout the day, it doesn't have to be at this
Same
particular
bite.
moment.
Yeah.
And I like crunch, so I'll take a few nuts with when I'm eating. That works for me. Great, so that's just 2 ideas that I think are super fast and easy to manage, and I gave you ideas to go off of. And then the last sheet was just some more ideas and things that are passable. And it's not like you don't know this, but sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I forgot, I can't hard-boiled eggs, I can grab and go. So simple. Leftover rice with a few sunflower seeds is a quick, you could throw that in a mug.
It's a
Get
great.
rice pilaf. So think outside the breakfast cereal box. One of my favorite is to toast like really good, like Ezekiel bread or some kind of bread, and then mash an avocado, and I put greens on it and make like a little sandwich. Sometimes I put hummus on it for the protein, and it's awesome. So it's kind of endless what you can come up with.
Have you tried hummus in a smoothie?
No, but hummus would be really interesting. Have you?
No. I was thinking maybe you could put it in this chickpeas.
That's,
Exactly, and save that step.
absolutely.
The comment here was, how about trying chickpeas in the smoothie? It'd be like putting some hummus in, but you'd save the hummus step and just put the chickpeas in and let the blender do the work. So, great idea. One thing I want to make sure and address is someone had said, well, I'm not hungry when I get up in the morning. Why would I eat breakfast if I'm not hungry? couple things. One, I want you to kind of think back to what you've had last night. Did you eat a large meal for the evening? Because sometimes it sticks around a while, or it doesn't give your body time to get going again, if you will, and give yourself that hunger cue. Another thing, what time was it? If it was late, if you had a bedtime snack, that very well could be making it so you're not getting that cue. There's also a lot of research going on about your quality of sleep. If you don't get good quality of sleep, your hunger doesn't work quite right, and your whole metabolism mechanism doesn't work right. And then I also talk about, going back to that fire that we have here, if your metabolic rate is very slow because we skip breakfast or we eat too huge of meals and we squelch that fire, if you're not burning, sometimes you don't feel that hunger growl. I have people tell me, well, now you're making me eat breakfast, because I hear that a lot. Now you're making me eat breakfast, and I eat breakfast, but I'm hungry all day long. And I'm like, yes, that's so good, because it just means you're burning. It means you're burning. It means that fire's working, and that's exactly what your body's designed to do. So, even though sometimes we feel sorry for ourselves when our stomach is growling, as long as we're eating on schedule and we're eating a balanced, varied diet, that's a beautiful thing. That's really, really good. Does that answer questions about that? All right, I'm getting some blank looks.
Yes, it did.
Good.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
So what's the takeaway? The takeaway, of course, is to eat breakfast. Get a variety. Maybe rotate between 3 or 4 different types of breakfast for you, until you get kind of in the swing of getting a good variety into it. And balance. Give yourself some carbs, give yourself some protein, give yourself some fat, because then you're going to give yourself the best opportunity to lose weight. Do you have any comments?
Nope. We're here for any questions too. Oh, yeah, we're good.
Well, I was just wondering, you talked about cereal being the sugar-coated vitamins. I mean, is that true if it's like those healthy
Please
cereals?
read the label.
Just really read the labels. And part of reading the labels is reading for portion size, which leads me to why I brought my bowl here. I don't know if any of you have seen these. Oftentimes they're giveaways or whatever, but it's often the size of cereal bowl that we have at home. But I love this one because there is a 1 cup raised line in here. So, most of us don't measure our food on a regular basis, and okay if you want to, but it's a prompt, so it tells me exactly. I use these bowls for lots of things other than cereal, because it's a good prompt to know how much we're getting. So keep your eyes open for cues that can help you work on your portions, because that's really sometimes our biggest problem. So, good. Another question.
So you mentioned that if you make smoothies that the nutrients go down if they're left in the fridge overnight. Now, I'm a big fan of making like a big blender of something and then divvying it up for the week. Could you put it in
I
the
do
freezer?
that too.
Do it.
No, don't.
Don't worry
Why
about
I brought that up was people get hung up on that research, and if you're eating it. It's better than what it could be.
Yeah.
So please don't. Because I hear that a lot at classes, like, well, they get worried if, they make us, make this ahead and you drink it like the next day, about the nutrient value. There's still a lot of nutrient value. So it's good. And that's working for you, that's fabulous.
Not yet.
It's gonna work for you. I like your honesty.
Any other comments or questions? It's a good time to ask them, because, believe it or not, we won't be here next week.
Yeah.
It feels like we're here on a weekly basis, but it's just been these 2 weeks.
I have a question, like just eating beans, it seems like they've got so much carbohydrates in it, but aren't they, they're really good for you, but do they really need to be limited because of the?
It really depends on the personal situation. The amount of fiber and the amount of protein almost always counteracts it. But yeah, if you sit there and eat a bowl full this size, Rarely does one need to eat that many. But as Joe has talked about too, yeah, think of the gas in our bellies. But oftentimes, and Joe talks about this a lot, you know, when we eat whole food, and beans are a good example, we don't want to eat this much, you know. So honestly, you probably don't need to limit the portion of it. You know, really kind of just trust your instincts and see how much you want to eat. And you're right, they're carbohydrate, but they're also other nutrient dense as well. Yeah, good point. Anyone else? Yes.
Earlier, I think you had said something about for breakfast, you want it even with carbs, protein, and fat.
Well, and not necessarily even, you just want to include some of all of them. Yeah.
So if that's like, you said third or fourth of our calories for the day,
Mhm.
how do you figure out how much you should be having?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be on an individual basis. I remember in years past you guys have done some of the MyFitnessPal. Are many of you doing that? Because that, honestly, that calculates out based on your personal needs, how many carbs you need a day, how many protein, how many fat, then just do a quarter of it, you know, and just see if you're close. But I like the idea of what we were talking about with the, do we call it porridge? Yeah, the porridge. You know, just make it and don't analyze it. Taste it, see if it satisfies you. If it holds you for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, you know it's got enough of all the above. You know, sometimes you don't have to micromanage the numbers and just kind of trust your instincts. If it did, oh, it only lasted me till 10:30, I got it covered till, well then you eat a little bit more next time. You know, but not double, because you didn't need quite double it, but just a little bit more. Sometimes that's all you really need to do.
Awesome. Great questions. Oh, we have another question.
What about like bacon and sausage? You haven't brought any of that up.
We haven't.
Bacon and sausage potentially are once in a while foods. You know, they're processed, they're high in sodium, they're high in saturated fat. They're not foods that we would recommend on a daily basis or even a regular basis. But should you never eat them again? You know, most everyone we know likes those. So you don't want to cut them out totally, but they're once in a while special occasion kind of things.
Like moderation?
Moderation would be the key word there. Do you have a comment on that?
I agree.
I was gonna say they sell like chicken, sausages and stuff in the organic section that are a little bit
Amy
healthier for you. What?
Amy Lou sausages? Have you seen those chicken sausages?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're good.
Those are good, yeah, that's what I eat.
So sometimes there are alternatives, you know, that maybe do have lower fat options, but just be really smart about it. Read the label just like you're reading the label for the sugars, because who knows, just because it's in the healthy section, who knows if it's a good option for you.
All right, great.
All right, we have 2 more giveaways for tonight. They're actually packs of some of Joe's recipe cards, so there's a lot of fun, all natural foods here. So let's see, I guess I'll let this table pick the last 2 names. All right, we've got Leslie Webster. And Barb Anderson.
I'm assuming, I hear a little bit.
All right, you guys are all set. You can talk with your team, or we're all done.